So we had to have a special council meeting. We can't go in executive session in a COW meeting, so we had to have a special meeting to go into those and do that type of work. Any questions related to Sharpscapes?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
It's not a question, it's a comment. I spoke with Mr. Kalman, and he went back several years, and Sharpscapes have been doing it for a lot of years. So I don't have any problem renewing that. I have not received any complaints either from any residents.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, go ahead, John.
I unfortunately have received a couple of complaints.
Okay.
Specifically, the homeowner was told that they needed to have branches removed so that their trucks could adequately plow the driveway without the branches scraping the trucks.
Mm-hmm.
And he was giving, according to the homeowner, an outrageous price to remove said branches himself. The homeowner did have somebody else, Empire Tree, and another individual helped remove some of the lower branches for her, which the homeowner said does not even touch the roof of her daughter's truck. But I advised her if there was a complaint, they needed to let us know, not tell us, well, this is what happened last winter.
Right.
So if anybody does have this, please keep in mind, if there is an issue, I guess it got a little heated between the homeowner and Sharpscapes, and she said it was the owner. She said the guys that actually do the driving are great. But the owner said, well, I'm not plowing the driveway now, and returned her check. So, please, any residents, if you have an issue with any of these, let us know at the Village Hall when it's going on, because we can't do anything about it, in October when this happened in January. So, just to make people aware.
Yeah.
That is the only complaint that I have, though, about them.
Anybody else? And I'll allow people to talk if they want, but just who would like to make that motion? Are we in favor of making a motion for Sharpscapes and exercising that second-year contract?
Don?
Okay. I know what Councilwoman Jennifer Allen mentioned, which is true. As you know, and everybody probably here, but if you don't, we facilitate the contract for the village to try to get the best price. But from there, we don't really manage it. We do take the complaints, if Rob gets them, and then we direct them to them, or we try to. And it helps because we get a group contract. That's the whole concept, is to get a larger contract and get a better price. So with that said, if you do have complaints, let us know, and we do communicate that to them and tell them our dissatisfaction. And there's times when things happen, and our guys will go out there and help too. It's a very fine line, but if there's a safety hazard and someone's driving and an ambulance can't get in or whatever, our service department does make sure, because when it's safety and health, we can do certain things. Otherwise, we can't. We're not allowed to plow. With our guys, we can't plow driveways because we can't use public funds on private property unless it's a safety issue, health and safety issue. But we try, and we know it's, I haven't got many complaints. I talked to Rob. He gets complaints, tries to address them. And hopefully, we're going to have to go out next year for bids. Hopefully, we'll get some more competition. Last time we didn't, no one else bid it. We were glad we had the second year, because as a lot of you know, getting a contractor right now is very tough. And we foresee it to be even tougher in this fall climate here. So we were glad we were able to secure them with the second-year contract. We felt that was really important. And they've done a decent job. There's always room for improvement. Go ahead, Jerry, did you have,
No, I just wanted.
you want to come up to the mic?
Yes, all right.
Just to be fair, everybody has to come up to the mic, so that way it goes into the record. We are live now too, just so everybody knows, we are live now, so.
We're a reciprocant of Sharpscape, and we just had them today, and I mean, in my opinion, they do an awesome job considering all of the yards that they have to do. You know, there may be some slight problems with how they finish yards, but I see the fellows coming out, and they do a wonderful job.
Thank you.
Price seems pretty reasonable too, Mayor, I gotta say. Yeah.
Right.
Mayor Colgrove?
Yes.
Yeah, I just have a quick comment, question on the Sharpscape, not on the Sharpscapes, but on the winter, on this plowing program. And, you know, how often the message is getting out to our residents. So last winter, you know, there were some residents that wish that they had signed up because, you know, January, February got kind of rough. And, you know, we had residents that were, you know, kind of stuck in their driveway. So it's just you know, as an encouragement that we really encourage our residents, if they're eligible, to participate in this program. And, you know, hopefully we continue to get that message out for our residents to participate, so that they don't get stuck in January, February.
Okay, it's probably mine. I know we try to do a better job advertising it on the social media and stuff too, right?
Yeah, the difficulty is the length of the drives here. It, you know, it is a reasonable price, and with the length of some of the drives here, it's very hard to get other bidders to come in.
And what they do, as you know, is no different than this. It's really not, they're not large companies that are bidding in the past. They're small companies, and that they contract out to another private person. You know, so sometimes with the person coming, even for Sharpscapes, they're working for Sharpscapes, but they're like 1099 or whatever. It's not like a company, you know, like a commercial company that's doing the large commercial, that all the employees are employees of that company. So there's even less control. But that's in the residential business, that's not uncommon. Go ahead, Katie, come up to the mic. Yeah, so we can hear you. That's.
Tell me the criteria, what is needed to have that service again.
What's that?
What are the criteria? Why, who can have that service? That's all I need.
Oh, I couldn't find.
I do have, let me,
I have it on the computer.
no, I have. Here's the contract. I am distracted just for 1 second. I got a call I got to take here. I want to read that in the.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so 65 years or older and fully retired with any earned income less than $10,000 and no one else residing with you that would be capable of taking care of your drive. And otherwise handicapped, obviously, with a doctor's certificate. So pretty much that's it.
And,
Yeah.
Just to clarify, because we've had a lot of questions in the past, earned income does not include Social Security, does not include retirement benefits.
Means if you're still working
anything,
a little
yeah,
job.
Exactly.
Yep, if you're doing a little retirement job, that would be your earned income. So no other benefits, no pensions, no Social Security, none of that. You're welcome.
And it is just a 1 push.
Correct. So normally they come, snow has to be, I want to say 2 inches? 3 inches. 3 inches, and they're going to come one time in that day, unless for some reason we get like 8 more feet after that. But the typical, you don't know when they're coming in the day. This is everywhere, not just here. It's not predictable when you have a senior type of service like this, but they will come once a day. It has to be 3 inches. So we do get a lot of calls here because it's hard to tell that depth, and some residents feel that we're at 3 when we're not quite there. So, you know, we try to help and do what we can if someone's got to get out for a doctor appointment, but that's usually how that works. 1 push once a day, 3 inches.
Angela?
Yes.
That 1 push is actually, you say a day, but it's within 24 hours.
Right, it could be within 24 hours, so I could be the first person on the list, or I could be the last person on the list.
So if
You
they
know,
plow
if
your
they-
driveway at noon or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you know, in the evening, they're not gonna come back before that time again.
Right.
The next day, if it needs done.
And I'm certain, like council and the mayor and everyone, if anybody has any doubt that whether they qualify or not, just to contact the village and, you know, we'll let you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Lisa usually takes those phone calls, and any one of us can help you out with that. And the contracts, I think, after our meeting tonight, will hopefully be going out. I believe Lisa usually sends them out to those of you who've used the service in the past. And then otherwise, if you're new and haven't started, you can go ahead and just give us a call and we can get one to you, or you can pick one up here.
And maybe, even if you don't qualify, you might want to reach out to the company, because if they're doing, you might get a better price than from other contractors.
True.
Because they're in the
They're already
area.
here.
You know, so you might use them, even if you don't think you qualify, maybe ask them for a price. You might get a good deal. And they're required to be insured and bonded or whatever, I'm not quite sure, but I'm sure they're required to have insurance.
Yes,
and all that.
they are. They do provide a certificate of insurance with us.
300,000 bodily, 50,000 property.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's all in the packet that we got from Angela.
And I believe they were former residents as well. They used to live in the village. That's how they got started.
Are we good?
I think we're good.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know if there's anything else for Sharpscapes. But
Anything else for Sharpscapes? Sharpscapes.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I don't know if you heard or not, but Councilwoman Brenner Miller said that she would introduce
Yes.
that motion.
Okay, that will work. Item 5 is discussion regarding the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District cost share agreement for Laurel Drive, roadside improvement project. I know there's quite a bit with that. In your packet here, you have a letter from Mr. Gelati. Okay, there's the Sharpscapes. Any questions relating to that? Ray, I don't know if you want to go over any of that. I know you've been kind of involved in that from the get-go, or Jennifer. We have a memo from the village engineer, Joe Gelati, talking about that project.
Yeah, Mayor, I will, just to comment that this project, this proposed project for Laurel Drive roadside drainage in Barclay Estates, it does have some history behind it in terms of a couple residents' homes actually receiving stormwater across their front lawn, because the way their houses are located in the cul-de-sac, they're at the bottom of the hill. And because the drainage swales on the side of the cul-de-sacs have been altered over time, they do not perform as they were designed. The swales, or the ditches, to just make it simple, the ditches are supposed to collect the stormwater or the rainwater off of the surface of the road, of Laurel Avenue or Laurel Road, and push it into a storm drain. That storm drain then connects to a underground pipe and discharges to, I don't know the name of the creek. There's this, well, we have a lot of creeks in Walton Hills, but there's a creek that runs from Northville Road through Barclay Estates up by Regency, right where Regency and Rachel come together, and then it runs west all the way down. Eventually, it taps into Tinker's Creek. Well, some of this water cannot get into the creek because it's the alterations over time and some collapsed pipes in this drainage system. So it is very important that this project move forward and be restore the natural drainage system that, well, not the natural, but the man-made drainage system that was originally designed. And you know, that will give our residents some relief from flooding.
Right, I guess, I know you have the memo in front of it, I'm not going to read the whole thing in the record here, it's a pretty big package, but from Joe Gelati, I guess, just that he sums it up a little bit, if that helps. The village will utilize the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District Community Cost Share Program for this work. This type of project is a perfect example of the type of improvement that not only is eligible for the CCS funds, but is exactly the type of project that the CCS program was created for. The CCS program has created a fund in which is specifically for stormwater improvements when previously no such dedicated fund existed. As such, all expenses, man-hours, equipment, materials incurred for this work will be reimbursed to the village. As such, these improvements will be completed at a zero net cost to the village. It has been conservatively estimated that the $30,000 of the CCS funds will be used for this project. So it's zero cost to the village when the project's completed. They'll be reimbursed by the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District on the project. And we would be performing the project because it's all in the right-of-way and not on anyone's property. We will be performing the work in-house. The service department will be doing the work, and then the village will be reimbursed for their man-hours and material and anything related to that project.
Yeah, just one more comment, Mayor, if I may. Just, you know, for the residents, the community cost share program, all of you see, there's well, not all of you, everyone who owns a home and pays the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District, there's a stormwater fee that is on all of our sewer bills. What the sewer district does, and especially for projects like these and others, they send 20, not send, but they set aside 25% of the stormwater fee that our residents pay for these types of projects in each local community. Instead of the sewer district running around trying to fix all of these problems, they carve out 25% of the fees that they receive and allow individual municipalities to figure out their projects and prioritize, and then that those funds are available for us. So that's where this money, how this project is being funded. And it's been funded with our dollars, our resident dollars.
And it's also for use for maintenance of that too, for our service department. They do cammering and different things of the sewer lines, and that's part of it too. The sewer district understands that, and that's where the funding goes to.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Jennifer.
I would just like to say that my understanding is this has been an ongoing issue for close to 20 years. I've been in constant contact with a couple of the residents down there that it has been affecting, and I've been keeping after Rob about it. So I'm very grateful that we are finally coming to a solution to this issue that's been happening. Again, it's approximately 8 homes that are directly affected by it, and I'm grateful, and I'm grateful to Councilman Whedon for being there for the meeting that day with the village engineer and yourself and Rob.
And me.
She said yourself.
Oh, myself.
She did.
See, I got a kind of a complex, so I got to make sure I'm included.
So, and if it's okay with the mayor, I'd like to introduce this.
That's fine. Anybody have any questions related to that? What's that?
No.
Oh, okay.
She just was in.
I thought I turned this thing back.
Did any residents have any questions related to the first item or this
No.
item?
Not so far.
How about
I'm
this
sorry.
item?
Not online.
Yeah, any?
Not online.
Okay. Anybody have any comments? Okay. So Jennifer, you're going to introduce that then?
Sure.
Okay. Not introduce it, we're going to do a motion.
Right.
Okay.
I just would like to say too, when I spoke to Rob, it was estimated 30,000 total cost, but Rob actually said he believes it's going to come in close to half of that.
Yeah, good point.
So we did overestimate that initial cost, just so we were covered in case of anything.
And how it works, they only reimburse us for what we spent.
Right.
You know, even if it's different than some of the projects, even if we submit for 30, you know, and because we do have to file an application, the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District does have to approve that project. We just can't
Track everything.
pick it. So, and then once they approve it, they'll approve for that amount, and then we submit everything. And if we have 15,000 in you know expenditures or less, that's all they're going to pay us, which makes sense. But it's still then it's in our account. Okay, everybody good with that? Okay. We got this item 6, discussion regarding the agreement with the City of Cleveland to operate our Motorola MHZ digital police radios. Those are our new radios. Why we wanted to talk about it, I know our law solicitor reviewed it. I think, John, you felt we might need a motion or legislation, so we thought we'd start talking about it. But go ahead, I'll let you.
The original legislation was used to purchase the radios, and it did not involve the City of Cleveland per se. So actually, the City of Cleveland owns the radio waves, or the airwaves. So they're allowing us to participate in that project. Motorola being the contractor that's overseeing the project. One could argue that you may not need a legislation, but we wanted to be transparent. It is another party to the contract, so we wanted to do legislation approving the mayor to sign the contract.
Do you agree with them?
Yes.
So that's going to be drawn up and will be on the next COW meeting. At least we wanted to throw it out there now in case there's any questions on it or whatever. But we'll have next week too to talk about it too.
Yeah,
But then you'll have the legislation.
I should have a draft by the next meeting.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to, maybe if the chief could come to the COW to
Yeah.
explain this a little more. I'd like a little more explanation on why this is needed to pay Cleveland for.
We can't broadcast over their network if we don't pay, there's like a $5 fee.
I understand that I understand what you're saying, if they indeed own the 800 megahertz network in this area. But it doesn't say that here. It just says, through this shared use, Cleveland participant will realize efficiencies and asset utilization that will broadly benefit taxpayers and residents, including the elimination of duplicate efforts and expense in the creation of similar radio systems, reduction of costs associated with updates, and so on and so forth. It doesn't say this is to rent or lease part of the spectrum.
Yeah, we can double check with Stan, but it's my understanding that we wouldn't have any use for the 800 megahertz if we didn't, run it through their network. I could be mistaken, so we can double check with Stan.
Yeah.
Stan's not going to be here next week.
We'll have
so
Shannon come in.
We can have Shannon.
Shannon will explain it.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
And that's a good idea because better have. She'll do the best explanation. She understands
thank
those
you.
radios
Appreciate it.
real well. Shannon is our dispatch supervisor, so she led that project and she understands it well and has met with them. So we will have her here.
Mayor Colgraf?
Yes.
Now, I also have a question. Does the Village of Walton Hills already have a similar type agreement with City of Cleveland or any other municipality for our radio systems?
That is a good question. I don't believe it would be with City of Cleveland if we do, but we're now running a network that nobody else that's obsolete, that nobody else is running anymore.
Right.
So Oakwood would probably be our closest, but we can ask Shannon that as well, like who we're running through now.
Yeah, I don't think so. We're still in the old.
This 800
band.
megahertz is allowing everybody to kind of tie in, so to speak, versus, you know, here's you on this network and you with this megahertz and everybody on their own in the past, so.
That, and that's the problem we're kind of at. Not everybody hears our transmissions.
Yep.
Okay? And that's what we don't want for, you know, mutual aid and everything else. You want as many communities to hear that in case they do need to help you. And we have an obsolete system, and that's, so I think, no, but I think it's a good
Yeah,
good
yeah, no, we're
question.
gonna ask Shannon that too.
Look, we just kind of want to get it out there and just know it's coming, so.
I mean, we do pay, it's called MARCS, M-A-R-C-S. So we do pay to run our radios currently, whether or not we're tied in with another city. I need to ask Shannon.
Or county, or. The other question I have for the resolution, can we kind of detail exactly how many radios we're talking about? These are handheld as well as the mobile units?
Yes.
Or,
It's
you
both,
know,
yes.
So I
Yeah,
saw the details, saw in here the $5 per month per radio. So can we kind of get like a summation of what that monthly annual cost of the contract will actually be, or the agreement will actually be, so that it's clear for budgetary purposes?
We'll put that together in a packet and then get it to you before our Tuesday meeting.
Mayor, I was going to pretty much use the old ordinance approving the agreement with Motorola, which has some of that information in it. So I was going to make it just, you know, a little more detailed, not short and sweet. I was going to use that ordinance.
Okay.
It contains very, you know, it does explain it very well. I kind of wrote it out already, you just got to do it.
We'll put Shannon on the spot. Shannon does a great job, and we'll have her come to a meeting. I don't know if she's ever been to a
Yeah,
COW
we've
meeting
had
or
her.
council. Have we?
Yeah. I thought we had her for the radio.
And everybody says this getting old is a good thing. I don't know. Okay. Any questions on item 6? There's nothing with that in the special council meeting. That will be coming next week. We'll have more discussion and see how council feels for the following council meeting.
Mr. Mayor, do you know if we've got all of the radios installed yet?
All of the radios were getting programmed. I don't know if they're all back into us yet, but as of last week, they were all out of the programmer.
Okay, because I know that we were on the list. We
Right.
received the radios and we were
Yep.
waiting for a few weeks.
They were all out of the programmer. So yeah, I can check with Shannon if they're back or not yet.
Any questions on that related to that? Any questions, Kevin or Angela?
Nothing online.
How many people are online? Did you guys already?
6. I got 6. You got 6?
6?
Which one is me, so 5. And one is me, so 4.
Now, don't ruin
I'm
that.
sorry.
I was acting,
6. We'll go back to 6.
I think at one time during the pandemic, which we had quite a few, 22, I think, Kevin, 25, so we did have quite a few. And what the difference is, we don't know how many people watch it
Go
after
back
the fact,
afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay, other business, I got a few things to go over here. We can,
Mayor,
what's that?
I have some other business. Do you want to go first?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, because it might entail what you have, Gloria, that's all. Let's see. I know the whole women's club is here tonight. I got an email from Mr. Kalman today. Where is it? I got an email today from Mr. Kalman, Tuesday, October 5th at 9:56 a.m. Mayor, we have received the flagpole for the community center. So, it did come in today. So, perfect timing, huh? But no, I know I've had some discussion with Sharon and Pat about that flagpole. I can't read what else Rob wrote here, so, because it's it's not the thing, it's all public record.
What you meant was chicken
He
scratch.
wants to take Friday off. I don't think everybody's so concerned about that. Okay, that was one thing. Okay. I know there's been quite a few residents talking about recreation stuff, and I met with a few residents, and I met with one resident in particular, and he had an idea, and I told him I would pitch it to council, and I think the rec committee should talk about it. I think it's in their thing. He was talking about, you know, he said to me, he said, Mayor, why not a subcommittee for recreation, a subcommittee, you know, of residents to help, you know, I know there's been talk, and I know Mr. Harkai's been talking about it, different programs and different things, and a subcommittee to help maybe get the message from the residents to recreation, to the recreation committee. And I said, well, let's talk about it. What do you mean a subcommittee? 10 people, 5 people, 3 people, whatever. And this is just me and this person talking. So, you know, as the recreation committee, you can talk about it. And I know we've talked about it before. We have had subcommittees we had a education subcommittee. We were doing that. We've had subcommittees for other things. And his suggestion was 3 people. You know, advertise it, have 3 people. And those 3 people meet with the recreation committee. So I just thought I'd throw that out. I told him I don't think it's a bad idea. I think the important thing is less people. Now, if we advertise for that and you get 5 people, you hate to pick people and say, okay, those 2, because one thing we all know from volunteers, you hate to discourage anybody from being involved. And that's why, you know, you guys are here and stuff too. So it's tough. But if you got 10 people, then maybe you'd have to narrow it down somehow. And the reason I say that, we all know the more people sometimes, the harder it is to come to some type of consensus on what, you know, you want. But I'm just throwing it out to the Recreation Community Life Committee. I think I've suggested I think you should have a meeting. I know you wanted to wait till Natalie was back to talk about different programs. So I'm just throwing that out. So that was another one of my things under other business. Let's see. We talked about sharp skates, complaints, because I know me and Jennifer talked a little bit about that. Okay. With the talk of the flagpole, I know I shared with Pat and Sharon Orland, and I might as well run, and I think I've run it by some of the things. The important part is, I think what I think is important is we have some kind of, ceremony or some kind of dedication or whatever, because that's an important part. So I have been tossing around, and I don't have a real lot of time because the journal will be coming out before you know it. We start the journal early. Veterans Day, to do it on Veterans Day. Now the problem is Veterans Day falls on a Thursday during the week, which it usually does fall. And we, because I called Sharon about whether or not about the pancake breakfast. I know usually the Women's Club does the pancake breakfast, but then I know with things going on and the pandemic, she said we're not going to do that at this time. So we would either move it up the weekend before or the weekend after, because I think Thursday, I don't know if that doesn't work very well to get people there, So I'm just throwing it out. That's just where my mind is at. Talk to Rob about it. because the important thing about the flag, but we're doing it in-house. We're not going to pay anybody to install it and make it nice. We want to have a nice area there, and have, you know, some concrete around it, or whatever we do with paint. Whatever we do, we want to make it nice. We just don't want to put it right in the middle of the grass. So we're working around his schedule. That's really what we're working around, because our service department has been doing more and more in-house with less. It's just how it is. And they're doing it. So, and this is one of those projects, you know, working with Rob on, and getting, and they're up for the challenge. They're going to make it beautiful. So that's kind of where I'm at. So we'll talk about it, whether we move it to, you know, before, or should we move it after the regular Veterans Day. It seemed like we usually, it falls closer to a weekend. Right now we're right in the middle of the week, so just throwing that out. Or do you think Veterans Day is not a good day to do it and not tag the two together? We don't have to. That was just, I just thought of a flag, you know, being the flagpole and being Veterans Day. It doesn't necessarily have to be Veterans Day. It could be another day too.
Mayor Colgraf?
Yes,
Yeah,
go ahead.
I just want to comment. I think, Mayor, you know, if it's up and ready by Veterans Day, which is a national holiday, you know, I don't know. Yeah, I know you say people, you may not, attendance may not be what we might want it to be, but it is a national holiday, so that might give some residents and others the opportunity to attend. You get past, once you get past that point in the year, here, as we know, Northeast Ohio, you know, we all might be calling on Sharpscapes just to get out of our driveway. So
That could happen tomorrow.
yeah. So I don't know if you don't get it, if we don't get it in by November, by Veterans Day, you know, it may be maybe up and waiting for a Flag Day or something like that in the spring or early summer. So,
Mr. Wien, is your suggestion? Are you saying we should just have it? Let's say if it was ready before that, have that and not tag on it, or are you saying we should have it on that Thursday?
I think it's an appropriate day.
I was just thinking Thursday. I just know when we have things, Veterans Day, we've had it on Veterans Day, and then we've had it off Veterans Day when we've had the pancake breakfast and stuff. And I just know the ones during the day we get.
Or that weekend, you know.
Yeah. But it's good conversation. That's whatever we decide here, we'll make it nice. That's what we'll. I know, I wish I like having it on that actual day, but what is anything from the residents, or
Women's Club.
anybody have any? Go ahead, Jerry. We're not going to make a decision tonight, but I'm going to have to make it soon, and I got to see what Rob, you know, how that's going and stuff. But we'll make it, because I got to get it in the journal.
Yeah, as one that has served, I basically feel that that day was dedicated for a specific reason, and that should be the day that you choose, whether it be a Monday or a Thursday, you know. That's my opinion.
Thank you. Very valid. That's why I was even questioning whether I even should tag it together. I wouldn't tag it with Memorial Day, because you know, veteran, you're honoring everybody that served, where Memorial Day is very somber. You're remembering people who've given the ultimate sacrifice. So we don't want to be celebrating one thing and then, you know, honoring somebody who lost their life. So that's why I thought, well, veterans is a little more appropriate. Well, we'll think about it, and we'll look at the calendar and see what we come up with. That's all I have for other business. Go ahead, Gloria.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd just like to read something. Last week, last week I attended the Walton Hills Women's Club meeting. There was much discussion about revamping some of their policies and procedures and if the club should fold or continue. Due to COVID and a high senior population, many of our club members have passed away, and membership is down and is having a financial hardship on the club treasury. As a member of the Women's Club and chairperson of Recreation and Community Life, I told the members I would speak to council, mayor and council to see if we could budget $300 a year to help pay for the telephone messaging service known as Blast. I believe the Blast is a service to the residents, notifying them of a death in the village, which includes funeral arrangements, place and time of viewings, church service, and information about where to drop off food by our villagers, so the villagers can pay their respects. The Blast is also used to inform the members of meetings and other service activities involving the club. It is likened to our Code Red. What is repass? Ms. Turner, would you raise your hand? Mrs. Turner contacts the family to see if they want to have a repass. She gathers all the pertinent information, as I stated earlier in the Blast. Now the club goes into action. The morning of the funeral, the village service department sets up tables and chairs in the community room or event center. Mrs. Turner shops for food. Her volunteers start to organize, set up, and prepare meat and bakery trays that have been donated by residents, and this gift of love is now ready to be presented to the decedent's family. After the funeral service, family and friends gather at the hall and sit down to a complete luncheon, fully prepared and served by the volunteers from the Women's Club. After everyone is finished eating, the leftovers are packed and wrapped and sent home with the deceased family members. Now, hours later, after cleaning up the kitchen and the hall, the tired volunteers go home to put up their feet and smile with a sense of satisfaction until the next call from Mrs. Turner, saying, "We have another repass." I feel the repass is a gift given to the residents' grieving family who have lost a loved one. And this repass is free and is serviced by our own Women's Club volunteers. I know of no other community that provides such a service. It is a gift. As a resident of a very unique village, I asked the mayor and council if they would appropriate $300 for recreation and community life to be given to the Walton Hills Club for services rendered for over 50 years, so they can continue to serve and give this gift to our residents. Thank you, Mayor and Council, for listening. Thank you, ladies, for your service. Every one of you, I have been there. I've done a repass. There's nothing like it. I could never thank you for what you have done, and I hope Council will take this to heart. It's $300 a year for this blast that sends this information out to the residents. And any resident in this village that wants the repass, these ladies are there. Would you raise your hand how many have done the repass? Thank you.
Well, I don't think any of us can disagree with anything you said there, Gloria. I know probably everybody in this room has been to a repass, a funeral luncheon at, whether it's across the hall here where it was for years or now down at the event center, and the spread that the Women's Club puts out along with the help from other people that in the village that drop off bakery or food is just great. It's always probably more than people have that when they get it catered. Doesn't even compare. I don't know, would Mr. Montello, is that something, would a verbal motion be acceptable? I have no problem with it at all.
I would think that would be fine, yeah, sure.
And they could make it in the special council meeting? Or is it?
No, we haven't put it on.
It has to
Does it have, well, that's my question, does it have to be on?
Should be on.
If it does, we can do it next, we can do it. If we don't have a special council meeting, we can do it in our council meeting. if in the last council meeting, and not the last one, the last meeting of the month.
It's limited to the agenda of the special
Correct.
council.
Okay, all right.
Sorry, ladies, but we'll get it done.
Yeah, I have no, I mean, I don't know how council feels about it, but we can, if it just can just be done by a motion, or unless you think we need legislation, if we need legislation, or how everybody feels.
Isn't there some in recreation or community life trips or, senior services that this money could be just taken from that? Not that there's a special, let's see, what do we have here? Trips, special events, contractual, senior services.
I don't think there's, I
I'm
mean,
not worried about the money, just.
yeah, I don't think it's about,
procedurally.
just procedurally, that's all. The difference is, it's not, it is a village event, because we are serving our residents, but, I mean, that's something you'd have to think. Why, do you have a problem with a verbal motion?
No, I
Then-
just want to get it done, that's all.
Yeah. But, I mean, whether it's, if it was 2 weeks from now, is that acceptable? I mean, we're okay, right? Hold on, Pat, I just want to, I'll let you guys talk. I mean, not me, but we want everyone to participate. How does council feel? Or we can put it on for next week for discussion too, or talk about it right now, and whatever.
Well, if they have any questions, they're here. If you have anything you want, you could ask the ladies.
Or if I can make the expenditure without anything, I'll make the expenditure. I mean, if I can make an expenditure, then I'll just make the expenditure.
We're gonna have money left from our NOPEC community grant that we just did the lunch with, so we can take it.
We'll take it from there then. Okay, then we don't need anything. Well, go ahead and share what you just, and it doesn't matter. If I
We
can,
have received the community grant for $1,500 from NOPEC that each year we typically give to the Lake Club. So this year we used that for our senior and employee lunch. That happened last week, and we will have some funds left from that. My only thing, Mr. Montello, procedurally would be if we're going to budget for this every year, then we can address that going forward.
right,
But in terms of right now, I do have a spot we can take that from.
so it's done.
So this would be yearly.
What's that?
This would be yearly.
Well, what Angela said.
That part we can connect with later,
Well, yeah,
but for now, we have a
Yeah.
place to pull it for this year.
Yeah.
and I think how everybody feels, I don't think that's gonna be,
I don't, Mr. Mayor,
yes.
I don't have any problem with it. I just want to make, because I would give them the money out of my own pocket. But I just want to make sure we're on sound legal footing that we
Correct.
can give this money per year to a resident organization. I know they're doing a
That's the
fantastic
key.
job for our residents. It's an immeasurable job, and again, I'd give them the money out of my own pocket. That doesn't bother me at all. I just want to make sure
Right.
that we are on sound legal footing to do that.
Right,
Yeah.
and that's what the key is. We know we got the NOPEC grant, which that's designed for that. So we can definitely, right now, we can give that $300, and we're legally okay. And what, and this is, because like anything, there's no secrets in this village. I probably knew before you guys knew that this whole group was going to be here, okay? All right? And if anybody thinks any different, then you haven't lived in Walton Hills long enough, okay? All right? Because there's always somebody telling me something, and I won't even say, but, and it's true. But it's okay, because we all want the same thing, and that's the best for the village. And I had one person say to me, well, Don, the village gives money to the lake. But see, we don't. We enter into a contract with the lake because we can't give money to the lake because it's a private entity. So how we do that is we enter into a contract with the lake and we buy services. So that's what Mr. Spitz said. It's not a matter of, if any of us here, why wouldn't we want to give $300 to one of our organizations? It's just legal thing. It's no different than that, what we're talking about with the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District and that program. You can't spend public funds on private property. We can't spend public funds on private organizations. The village has done a great job of linking the two and justifying it, and it's important because we're all in it together. So we'll be fine. We'll get it.
We can, as you just said, buy that service that they provide to our community. And that service is,
The repass.
costs $300.
Right.
We
I
do
don't
have
have
a
any-
comment from Kathy Spitznagel.
Uh-oh.
Does the village have, she's asking, does the village have a call system that the women's club could use somehow?
We only have the nine.
Right, we only have Code Red.
Yeah.
Right. And you know, with that said, I talking to a couple people, I said to them, I said, I know you do a phone blast. Do you do an email blast too? No? Okay. Because like to do an email blast, even for us to do an email blast in-house is very easy. You know what I mean? Once you get the data bank there, and then you just blast it out. So that's just another idea. Even expounding on it, I mean, the phone is great because some people that don't have phones, and that's why we have thing. But we can also do an email blast too. So, but we'll use right now. We're going to use the NOPEC, correct?
Yes.
We're going to use that, the NOPEC expenditures. Everybody on council okay with that? Because I know we've talked about, I'm sure you are, using that NOPEC grant for that program. Okay.
Thank you, Council. Mayor.
No problem. Thank you for doing the repass.
And the flagpole.
Yeah, but that will come. We don't want to thank anybody until it's up. But it is at the service garage, so that's a start. Johnny,
Are you gonna buy the plaque with it?
what's that?
Are you gonna buy the plaque with it?
We're gonna get a plaque. I did throw out, I'll probably meet with someone, just threw out, what we're gonna say on it. I mean, it would be very, I'm gonna run it by the Women's Club, just something, this flagpole was dedicated by the Women's Club, and then I think it was either Pat or Sharon mentioned at the Women's Club, what anniversary is it? 75 this year, and maybe that's something to put on that plaque. It was donated to the village on their 75th anniversary. Something like that, just something short. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be able to put everyone's name on it, okay? Unless Mike can go first.
How about our group photo?
But we'll come up, I mean, we're going to, we'll come up, we want it to be nice. Want it to be nice. And I thought, well, that's really nice to mention 75 years. That's quite an accomplishment to have a volunteer organization in existence. We all know it's hard to get volunteers. It's one of the hardest things, especially now with both men and women, both the husband and the wife working, and many challenges. So.
That is our way of letting those in our village know we care about one another, and that's important.
Oh, I can't. Sure, we all agree. All right. Anybody have anything related to that or anything else? I get.
It's not about this.
It could be about anything.
Okay, all right. All right. Okay, hi, I'm Barb Rohall. Oh, Barb Rohall from Walton Road, down the street here.
Speak in the little microphone, turn it towards you, please, so we can hear you.
Oh, hello. Could you hear me now? All right. I just want to ask a question about the senior trips that we are taking. I want to know who sets the price on those trips for us seniors.
I can tell you what I know, what I've seen in the past, and Carol can probably concur. Your price of your trip's typically been set by where you're going. Let's say you're going to Playhouse Square, right? Price of a ticket, and I think we were including a few dollars for the bus as well, right, in the past. So this time Maya had organized Hartville Kitchen, so we needed to collect up front for lunch. So I can give them a check for lunch. So I think that that's the only one I know we have scheduled so far.
Right, my problem is, and with a lot of people, us seniors, we're on fixed incomes. They want to charge us $30 to go to Hartville. I mean, that will include a lunch, but we never, ever had to pay that much money to go on a trip. So
No, I can look into how much your lunch was going to be. I can check that.
They can't charge you that much at a restaurant, and you figure 10 people at $30, that's $300.
Yeah, let me
So
look and
what do you
see.
do
I
with
can ask, and Natalie's back too, so I can touch base with her in calling Hartville. Maya gave me just kind of a basic that they were holding it for us, so I don't really know what your lunch price was going to be that they wanted us to pay up front.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine.
It was included, but I'm sure it's not going to be that expensive. I know gas has gone up for everybody.
Have you gone out to Hartville Kitchen before, Carol?
Yes, yes, I have.
Do you remember approximately what the lunch was?
I probably charged $2 and they paid for their lunch on their own.
Yeah, I do know they said something about getting the money ahead of time for the lunch this year.
Seniors are like, I just want a cup of soup and a half a sandwich.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Okay.
$7, you know?
So let's
They don't
I'll look
wanna
into
pay
that.
Yeah, because
$20
it just
for lunch.
seems so much money, and
me
a
let
lot
you
of
know.
people go, I'm not paying $30
Yeah.
to go on a
and
trip
I know
like
that Natalie and I talked about attendance being low for it. I was actually going to put the plug out for your deadline. So let me check for that tomorrow. And then if I get back to you, can you spread the word?
Well, that's fine.
Okay.
I mean, I just don't think
That'd be
it's
great.
fair
I know
to
Natalie
charge
was going to make some
that
calls
much
too, because we were
money.
wondering why it was so low.
How do you get this back in here?
Okay.
Okay?
So when,
Come on up to the mic, Carol. Thank you.
okay.
I know, and I feel like, I don't know if I should give my 2 cents or not, but.
You give your 2 cents.
Okay, I'll give my quarter worth. All right, so how I used to
Long
do
enough.
how I did it in the past, when I was recreation director, I mean, you have a trip budget, and if something was going to be, like a play was going to be, $20, I would know that somebody doesn't want to pay $20 for the play and a lunch, because we usually throw a lunch in there too, and the bus ride. So how I would do it is I would maybe take half and say I'll pay half of that ticket. They pay $10 and the $2 for their lunch, or $2 for the bus ride, and their lunch.
Okay.
Whatever they want to buy on their own, because I know what the people did. They didn't usually want to have a lunch that was going to be a $30, $15, $20 lunch. They just want to eat something little and have conversation and be social, have a good time. So that's how I did it, but I don't know how I have no idea.
Maya jumped in to try to plan something for you guys that really wasn't on her wheelhouse necessarily, because that's something Natalie would have done
Right.
had she been here.
Right.
So let me look into what was happening with price on that between the three of
Yeah.
us, Maya, Natalie, and myself, or I'll call Hartville Kitchen.
Yeah.
Because I did need to, like I said, they asked for a check either that day or ahead of time. So let me find out what was involved
Yeah.
with the lunch itself. I
Yeah.
don't know if maybe there was a set lunch too, but we'll find
Well,
out.
I thought there was. I thought I remember reading something about pie.
Okay.
I remember pie. I don't know. It's funny
Maybe
that
that's
Don was
what
going to throw
made the
pie in my
cost a
face,
little
but
higher. Yeah, I don't know. Pie.
maybe it's the
Mayor?
same pie.
Yeah.
Mayor?
Yes.
I would encourage checking with that
Yeah, I'll
and
check
doing
tomorrow.
something like, letting them, choose their own, because
Yeah, absolutely. Let me see.
what I'm figuring is, my wife and I were out at Hartville Kitchen a week and a half ago. And our bill between the two of us was, I believe it was $50.
So it's probably gone up a
And
little.
we didn't have dessert.
Yeah.
So their prices
Yeah.
are not, so they might be
Pandemic
taking
probably did
$20
raise the
per
prices.
person. So if you do, if Natalie
Right.
does something like that,
So
that would bring
we'll
that
definitely
cost
check.
down.
I'm certain that it was not Maya just throwing a price out there out of the blue.
Right.
But I'll get to the bottom of what was included, because yeah, that might be the case.
Because if it's a husband and wife, they're gonna pay $60.
Sure, and
That's
if
a
it is
lot of money.
if it is a set meal, that would explain
Yeah.
why there's a set, you
Yeah.
know, a big cost versus I'm gonna order soup and a salad. So let me
Yeah.
make a call tomorrow to Hartville Kitchen and touch base with Natalie and Maya and get back to one of you, and then you can disperse the info. And then that way from there too, I know we have the 7th as your cutoff deadline, so we can see if we can, you know, stretch that a little too. If the check can go on the bus with you guys, then, I mean, I have no problem with that. I just was asking, how many do we have signed up? Because I knew I needed to get the check ready, so,
Right.
yeah. Yeah, thanks for bringing that to our attention.
Go ahead, Pat.
I wanted to,
It's hard to get out of it.
you're right. I wanted to justify our call multiplier. Usually we reach as many as 60 to 80 members, and emailing it is the reason why we didn't go that route. So I have the bill here and also the members that it reaches if you need some backup on the figures that Gloria mentioned. So I just wanted you to be aware of that.
Yeah, what we'll need from you is, we'll need the, probably have you get with Mary, whoever represented, and give us the names or however, you know, you do it. So yeah, you can give that to me now, Pat, and I can go from there. That's not a problem, Gloria. So,
Thank you.
no problem. And then you would be the contact person to call if she has any, okay, all right.
That's because they believe in the president.
Well, there you go. You're the president now? Well, see, we both have titles. I could probably buy you a cup of coffee. No, we're good. I just want to get it, we'll get it, or Angela, you
Yeah.
get it, whatever.
Yeah.
Any other questions related to anything or what we were just talking about?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I believe there's somebody here that would like to introduce himself to council. Mr. Atkins? Did you still want to do that? Because now would be the time.
Hello. Sorry. Okay. Sorry about that. My name is Anthony Akins. I'm a resident of Oakwood Village, but I'm attending this council meeting today because I wanted to just introduce myself to the council, the mayor, and the residents. I am currently running for Bedford City School Board, so I just wanted to show my face to anyone to let you know that I'm here. I am a longtime resident of the school district. I actually graduated from Bedford Schools myself. I'm married. My kids are students in Bedford Schools. And I just want to make myself available to, if anyone had any questions or basically anything, just introduce myself to you guys. One of my goals, if elected as a school board member, is to try to increase communications with the various communities, just to try to make things as transparent as possible and to increase our state report card grades. The district is, I believe, getting like a D grade at the moment, and I just want to bring it back to where it was when I was back in school, where it was actually a desirable district to move into and to have your children into. So I want to bring it back to that state. Thank you.
Mr. Are you going to be Thursday at the candidates night?
I will be at the candidate night on Thursday, so
Okay, very good.
I will be there to answer any questions that come from that forum.
Great.
That's a microphone.
You're making sure it's working.
I don't think it's on.
Look at them, you're putting up your timer, Carol.
There's a button on the back here.
We did used to use this
See the back?
years ago.
It might be turned down on the
Oh,
down
because
here.
it's really not working.
Just saying.
We used
to see if it needed to
Yeah.
slide up.
Well, it's in that box. There's a mixer under there. We can look at it later.
Yeah, we can turn it
It's okay, we're done.
on. Anybody else have anything?
No, there's nothing stupid. Nobody says stupid. You don't want to say stupid. Okay.
All right, let me see. It's not working, that's okay. I can use my voice. I've been around to some, you want to see my face? Okay. There you go. I've been around to so many parks around this area with my grandkids playing sports and all that. And all those parks allow dogs, with responsible people, of course, to have their dogs there. Why we don't allow in our park up there the dogs? I love to go around and walk with my dog or something like that. Why we have a big sign, no dogs allowed, if I'm a responsible resident and I pick up the poop and everything?
Somebody is responsible.
Because nobody, well, I don't know. I just wanted to see why they allow them. I've been in Bay Bridge, in whatever, Hinckley, every place, Brecksville, and they allow dogs. People have their dogs next to them, and I assume everybody is responsible. But why we do that?
Well, it's been that way since I've been here.
I know.
Okay. I don't know how long it's been that way before that. I'm going on over 26 years, and it's been that way. As a councilman, we've had both people come to the mic. We've had some people come to the mic that are upset that they even see dogs up there.
Oh.
Okay. And wanted stricter enforcement of it, actually.
Okay.
We had that in this forum as right before the pandemic. And then we've had some people at the same meeting saying that we should allow. So there's both sides definitely out there. I think, this is just me, I mean, for council to change that, I'm sure they would have to feel that the majority, like any, or myself too, to support something that the majority of the people wanted. I know from talking to, because we had discussions at dog parks. Me and Mr. Spitzenagel here, along with Mr. Sheeler at one time, this body here, we talked about putting a dog park up there. Some of us might remember that. I see Karen shaking her head, probably remembers that. In fact, it got so far in recreation community life, we even visited some dog parks to look at them. Now we know dog parks there's been a lot of liability, there's been different liability issues, there's been things, those have kind of changed too. So, Katie, all I could tell you, there's both, what we've heard from you, I've heard the other side, and we've heard both sides. I myself, I love animals, a dog lover, I don't have a dog at this time, and you're right, if everybody would be responsible, it'd be the best thing. Unfortunately, that's not always the case. The Lake Club goes through it all the time. You know, people come down there with dogs, and you got to tell them no, and they're not
I can
happy.
see it there.
And
I mean,
yeah, because you're walking barefoot.
yeah, I can see it there, but up at the park, I mean, you see it in so many communities, and that's why I was
And
asking.
I don't know if it's always so much about the. Go ahead, Mary. Go ahead.
No, because when you play baseball and you're in the outfield, you don't want to step in a pile of poop. Take it from me. Okay, that's it, and that's why I know, but you can't rely on people being responsible, unfortunately.
Well.
I mean, I have had 2 dogs. I have nothing against dogs, but I don't think with the size of that park and what it's set up to be, which is really, I always thought of as a baseball, softball kind of, and a pavilion type of a setting, I don't think dogs should be there unless it's a service dog, and you have to have a dog with you. But that's my opinion, because I can't trust people to be responsible. That's why.
But they trust them in every other community.
It doesn't matter, we're gonna jump off a bridge because everybody else is doing it, so that's just, I know it's a strong opinion, but it's mine, so that's it.
You know what some people told me, just to, not, and I won't expound, but, and it kind of made, some people said, Don, and you bring up other communities, a lot of communities ain't as rural as us, and so they need that space or that park. And one person said, Don, and we all have 1 acre minimums. We have, some of us even have larger lots where our dogs can roam, where they felt more in a suburban, a city atmosphere. It was more important because they didn't have that yard, or if they're in an apartment, for that dog to run, so they needed somewhere in their community. The thing, I'm just saying that's just one of the arguments where and it's a very valid argument. If you lived in the city and you had no space, you'd want to, just like your kid, if some people live in apartments, so they want to take their son or daughter to ride their bike around a parking lot or a park somewhere,
Okay.
So, but
I
yeah.
just wanted to see what was,
Lobby
because
your council person, and you got to task them.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
One more thing, the big thing on that too, that one of the complaints is not always the dog poop, is people let their dogs run loose. And that is something, especially now, a lot of people have big dogs, they have protection dogs, and people are intimidated. We get that at the park during the baseball games. Somebody will be, a dog will run loose, and that's almost sometimes worse than, the feces, because, a big dog or even a small dog comes running towards you. Some people are very fearful of them, and that experience is not, so. Any other comments before we adjourn the meeting? Can I have a motion for adjournment?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for adjournment.
Second.
Vote on the motion.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller?
Yes.
Councilman Linville?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel?
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Councilwoman Terlasky?
Yes.
Meeting adjourned at 8:23 p.m. Does anybody need to go to the restroom or anything before, or you want to go right into the special meeting?
Germany, the town.
You're nice, I'll share.
They're getting a one one-way ride down the county because they're from the women's club. Would you like to join them, Miss Remy?
I just want to say, I just went to the library to test my taxes. They had more people there than they did at
Yeah, they give them a couple
They couldn't even.
Okay, we're going to start the meeting. Jerry, that's okay. I'm not yelling at you. I just want to let know whatever you want to do.
The last one in this paddy wagon.
If you take your time, you'll miss and you'll be able to go home. Good night.
Good night.
Okay, we ready, Kevin? I'd like to welcome everybody to the special council meeting of the Village of Walton Hills of Tuesday, October 5th, 2021 at 8:26 p.m. First order of business is roll call.
Councilwoman Allen?
Here.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller?
Here.
Councilman Linville?
Present.
Councilman Spitznagel?
Here.
Councilman Whedon?
Here.
Councilwoman Trulaski?
Here.
Okay. I know there was some, I meant to talk about it, we could have talked about it in the committee of the whole, but I'll just mention it here. I know a resident asked about persons before thing. I know on special council meetings, we've never
Right.
had
Yeah.
anywhere for residents to talk, but we'll ask, just like we do in anything. It was just because usually a special meeting we have right after, and it's just to do. I know last month we did have on the council meeting, persons having business before council.
Right, regular meeting.
And me and Mr. Spitznagel talked, I mean, it doesn't matter. I think we went to the part where it said meetings related to the agenda when we were virtual, just because we were trying to make sure we were getting the questions all in and communicating with the residents. So, but even with that, we always ask, and we never deny anybody to come to the mic. As we know, we've had some residents talking to the mic for almost an hour. And actually, I got people said, mostly residents and things, well, that shouldn't happen. They used to time it. Most of the mayors used to use a timer and stuff. But so, does anybody have anything to say before we go into our special meeting and pass our motions? Okay. All right. Who would like to make the motion for number 3, item 3?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to exercise the option to renew Sharpscape Sync for the senior and handicapped snowplow service for 2021 to 2022 season.
Second.
Second by Mr. Linville.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller?
Yes.
Councilman Linville?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel?
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Councilwoman Trulaski?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor of the motion? That was 6-0. Item 4.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to make a motion to authorize the mayor to execute a community cost-sharing agreement between the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District and the Village of Walton Hills for the Laurel Drive Roadside Improvement Project as authorized by Ordinance 2016-7, so as to commence this work immediately.
Second.
Vote on the motion.
Yep. Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller?
Yes.
Councilman Linville?
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel?
Yes.
Councilwoman Trulaski?
Yes.
Mary Brenner Miller seconded, right?
Yes, that's
Okay.
what
Okay, I'm going to ask for a motion to go into executive session just for everybody here. When we come out, there will be no order of business. We talked about everything in the COW meeting. We're going to come out, we'll reconvene, and then we'll adjourn the meeting. You're more than welcome to stay, but I just wanted to tell you that just so you have an option.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to enter into executive session to discuss pending litigation, economic development, and sale of land.
Second.
Vote on the motion.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller?
Yes.
Councilman Linville?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel?
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Councilwoman Trulaski?
Yes.
Okay, motion passed.
8:28.
Okay, how does council feel? Do you want to, well, we have residents, if they're waiting, we'll have to go in one of the other rooms. And we can space. Okay?
reconvene on the agenda.
That's another tough job. I commend every one of those school board members. That's not an easy job in this day and age. Look at, they're probably having discussions, what I talked about earlier, TikTok, putting TikTok out there saying the challenge is to hit your teacher. I mean, that's on the national news. No, superintendent's already putting out letters to the student parents telling them
Where
the
is
concept.
this?
I seen it on national news before I
Oh,
came here.
national.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Because
we're back everywhere.
TikTok's national.
we're
Once it
back
hits,
on.
it's,
We're back on.
we're back on, okay.
Motion to reconvene, I forgot to put it on the agenda,
That's
I
fine.
apologize.
Mr.
Can I-
Mayor, I'd like to
yes.
make a motion to reconvene from executive session.
Second.
Oh, Mr. Whedon already
Mr.
got
Whedon?
you. Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller?
Yes.
Councilman Linville?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel?
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Councilwoman Terlasky?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for adjournment.
Second.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller?
Yes.
Councilman Linville?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel? Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Councilwoman Terlasky?
Yes.
Okay. Meeting reconvened at 8:54, meeting adjourned at 8:55. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.